Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is something that I've wanted to film for quite some time now. This is going to be our story about our infertility journey, where we are today, and what our plans are for the future. So if you're not interested in hearing about cycles or birth control or anything like that, then just go ahead and leave this video because it's not going to be for you. But I wanted to film this because I feel like this is going to be a video that someday I look back on and it's just a memory. We are going to have kids someday, and whatever that journey is and whatever that reason or whatever helps us get children, we are going to look back at this and we're going to think, oh yeah, I remember that. That was a hard time, but that's in the past. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started and talk about back when I was 13 and I hit puberty. All of my friends were having their cycles. They were getting their aunt flow and I was not. I believe that I was about 13 or 14 when I finally got my cycle, and it was completely erratic and completely irregular. I was going about 6 months in between or up to a year, and they were lasting 2 or 3 weeks. And so it was completely abnormal. Nothing about it was normal. So we went to the doctor and the doctor said, oh, don't worry about it. You're young, you're like 100 pounds, your body probably just doesn't know that you've hit puberty yet. So here's some birth control, keep on it, you know, it will regulate you, go on with your life and don't worry about it. So that's what I did. Didn't think anything of it. I was 17, I was on birth control for medical reasons, and that was it. 7 years later, I'm married and we have decided to start a family. So I thought it would be super easy. I go off my birth control and I did not have a cycle. And I thought, wow, you know, I think I've got pregnant the very first time. Nope, the test was completely negative. And I did that for about 3 months. I waited and waited and waited for me to start my cycle, and I never did. So I go to the doctor and the doctor's like, oh, you know, you've been on birth control for 7 years. This is the same doctor, by the way, that I went to when I was 17. And she said, oh, you've been on this for 7 years. Your body just hasn't got used to it. You know, just here's some medication that's going to make you have a period. It'll kickstart everything and you'll probably be okay. If you don't get pregnant in a few more months, let me know. At this time, this is going on about July of 2014 is when we started to try, when I went off my birth control, and I go to see the doctor in October. So from October 2014 to February of 2015, I don't believe I had a single cycle and I never got pregnant. This was us just kind of trying, not really stressing about what medications we were taking or anything like that. I go back to this doctor after doing a ton of research. So during this time, of course, I had a lot of time on my hands and a lot of questions, and I found a channel on YouTube called Ellie Jared. I stumbled upon their infertility journey. And if you don't know who they are, then I will link below their channel and the video of why I started to do YouTube and my connection with them. I had watched Ellie Jared's video, and they were talking about Ellie's symptoms and polycystic ovarian syndrome. And when I did my research, I had all of those symptoms, and I pretty much self-diagnosed myself with PCOS. So I go into the doctor in February of 2015 with the knowledge that that is probably what I have. And I tell the doctor that I think this is what I've got, what should I do? And she completely agreed with me and referred me to a specialist, to a fertility specialist or a reproductive endocrinologist. So I go to see this guy probably around March of 2015. I see him and he does an ultrasound, and of course my ovaries are completely covered with cysts. They describe it like looking like chocolate chip cookies. My ovary had tons of little cysts covering it. The way that the cysts work is that my egg, or people with PCOS's egg, they start to release or they grow to a certain point, and then instead of growing any further and ovulating or releasing, they just stay on your ovary and they just accumulate over and over until you're just covered with them. So that was my situation, and he said, okay, let's put you on Femera. Femera is a medication that's had a lot of success rate with PCOS patients, and he immediately started out with that. At this point, I had not had a cycle since that first doctor gave me something to kind of kickstart my cycle again after the birth control. So I had went a few months without having anything. And he put me on Provera again, which made me kickstart my cycle, start all over, and I took the medication as directed, and it didn't work. So we did another round of Femera, and it didn't work. And then we did Clomid because he said, well, maybe you'll have some success with Clomid, and it didn't work. During all of this, I'm having to travel 2 to 3 hours from my home every couple of weeks to get ultrasounds and blood work to see if I am going to ovulate or if I ovulated. So after 3 months of this, he says, okay, you're obviously not going to have any success with the pills. You need to go to the injectable form of this. And the way that that works is you take a shot every day for 7 days. You need to come in every couple of days and get blood work and ultrasounds and see if you're going to ovulate. But I have to tell you that your risk of twins and triplets has increased because of that. And we just said, we don't feel comfortable with that quite yet. So we stopped. In May of 2015, I believe this is around about that time, we completely stopped all form of fertility treatments and just decided to see what happened naturally. So around the spring of 2015, from stopping that to November of 2015, nothing happened. We didn't try, we stopped everything, and I never had a cycle. After some thinking and praying, we decided to start over again, but this time we wanted to get another doctor's opinion and see what he thought. And we found someone a little bit closer who didn't have the best reviews online, but had a big success rate. And personally, I could care less if the guy was nice as long as he got me pregnant. So I go to see him, and he puts me on metformin and steroid, dexamethasone. He says that I needed to be on metformin because I have PCOS, and the dexamethasone is something that will help with the high testosterone level that I have. The other doctor, the first fertility specialist, said I didn't need metformin because my insulin and sugar levels were completely fine, and I had what they called thin PCOS, and I didn't need to worry about losing weight or eating healthier or anything like that. Mine was mostly focused on the testosterone being high and my hormones being irregular, not my sugar. So this doctor tells me that I do need to be on metformin and I need to be on a steroid, which is going to help lower my testosterone and get the hormones level. I'm fine with that because it's something different, so I get really hopeful. We try that. I think he did Clomid from what I remember, and we didn't get pregnant. So I called him up, he did another cycle, Clomid again, I didn't get pregnant. But after that second cycle, around December of 2015, I did have a cycle on my own, which was the first time since we started trying in 2014 that I had had a cycle completely naturally. So I knew that we had a certain amount of days that I needed to contact the doctor and start the next cycle. Because if you've ever done fertility treatments, you know that you usually start around like day 3 or 5. So I called this doctor up, the newer doctor, and he is actually in the hospital. And his nurse says that he doesn't know when he's going to be coming out. And because I knew that I only had a couple of days to work with, I tried and hurried to find another doctor, and I couldn't find someone who could get me in time. But I had found a doctor that had been suggested to me by a few friends and family members with PCOS who was a few hours away from me but got them pregnant, and they had highly suggested I go see him. So I called this new doctor up because this other one's in the hospital now, and I said, hey, I need to be seen as soon as possible. She said, the nurse said, sorry, we can't get you in until April. So I'm put in a situation where I have to wait from December until April to get into this new doctor. But I'm willing to try that because he came so highly suggested, and I knew that obviously there was something good for him to be that booked up for that long. So I just kind of wait. We don't do anything for a couple of months, but in February I get a call that he can see me if I come the next day. So I of course load everything up and go that next day to see him, and I pretty much fell in love with him. He was the first doctor who sat me down and explained to me everything that was going on with my cycle, with PCOS, and why I wasn't ovulating. He explained to me that having a natural cycle like I did in December meant that I did ovulate that month, but for some reason I didn't get pregnant. Now at this point, Aaron has not been tested. We basically know that PCOS is the reason we're not getting pregnant, so we're focusing on me and figuring out how to get myself regular. So Aaron's not been tested, but we don't know why I didn't get pregnant that month. Maybe we just didn't work with everything at the exact time. You know, you have so many days and so many hours and things like that that you have to time everything, so maybe we just missed our small window. But this doctor was the first one who really explained that to me, and he was the first one who really said, hey, you need to be on this for 6 months before we go to anything else. He said that the other doctors didn't give it enough time. They were just kind of jumping the gun and going on to the next step, but it's important to stay consistent. So we started that in February of 2016 of this year, and we started out with Femera. We did 3 cycles, I believe, with that doctor, and at that point I was just done. There comes a point when you're struggling with something that you kind of just give up for a little while, and that was, I guess, my breaking point. I was tired of thinking about it. I was tired of trying. I was tired of being disappointed every month. So we decided just to take a break. We were going to go on vacation in a few months, so let's enjoy vacation. Let's just relax, take a breather, and see what happens. And of course, nothing has happened in that time. That was the last thing we did in about March, and we are now in September of 2016. So that is why I'm filming this today. I have just contacted that doctor this week and started completely fresh and decided to try again. He has put me on the same Provera to, of course, make myself have a cycle, and on day 3 of my cycle I will start taking the Femera, and then I will go and have some blood work drawn on day 24 to see if I've ovulated. At this point, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm really hoping and praying that this is perfect timing for filming this video and for having this YouTube channel. Maybe something will happen from it in the next little bit, but if not, we've got this to look back on, and I'm gonna document my journey and see what happens. I don't know. I'm hoping that there's gonna be a positive test within the next few months, but if it's not, it's okay. We'll get past it and we'll just see what happens. But this is where we're at now, and I hope that you guys will stay tuned and see what happens. Please subscribe so that way we are asking for your prayers, we're asking for words of encouragement, and we're just excited. We're hoping that this is it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this answered some questions that some people might have and documented our journey well enough. If you have any more questions, please just leave a comment, and don't forget to like it or tell me what you think, and tell me if you guys have struggled with infertility and what worked for you. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.